Chapter 176 Florida Man Scammed Foreigner as Revenge After Being Called by Racial Slur. Chapter 176 Florida Man Scammed Foreigner as Revenge After Being Called by Racial Slur. Say ching. Ding. You have won the private wager and the gambling house bet. You have recovered 160,000 years of lifespan. You have recovered one Earth Fate crystal. You have received 100,000 years of lifespan from the Orc God, Akushwilu. You have received one Earth Fate crystal from the Orc God, Akushwilu. You have received 360,000 years of lifespan from the gambling house. The system spammed messages after the match was concluded. However, the system didn't return Leo back to his bus right away. Instead, it teleported him to a contestant's locker room. As for the orc, he vanished. Leo looked around in confusion. He found himself alone in a giant locker room. The benches and lockers were megalophobia-inducing humongous as they were 20 times larger and taller than average lockers on Earth. Just by standing on the bench, Leo felt like he was a small insect in a human world. Where am I? Leo scratched his head. Fortunately, the system gave him another hint. Tips: after every real-time PvP match, you will always be either sent to a locker room or an infirmary, depending on your health condition. You can find your locker in this room and claim your extra prizes. Tips: spectators in the stadium may leave some messages or donate some items, local currency, or lifespan if you perform well during the match. All gifts are contained in your locker, and nobody can claim them except you. If you accidentally meet an unfortunate end, the stadium host will transfer your items to your descendants. Learning about his personal locker, Leo scanned the massive room. Beep. The system was helpful this time. The window screen transformed into a streak of light, guiding Leo toward his locker. He walked on the massive bench and followed the blue light. After walking for 10 minutes, Leo came across a glowing black locker at the bottom row, 561st from the right and 345th from the left. It had Leo's portrait picture on it. However, the stadium labeled him with a different name. Florida Man, the New Earth Champion. New Earth? New Earth. Leo was puzzled by this new nickname. It would have been more understandable if the name was Earthling, Floridian God, or Human, but in this case it sounded strange. Ignoring the portrait and his weird nickname, Leo jumped down from the high bench and approached the massive locker. He touched the gold locker wall. Ding! A system screen appeared, showing a grid inventory of his items. At the left side of the screen, log messages of various people donating random items to Leo kept appearing. Meow Mealord has donated one abyssal anglerfish to you. Meow Mealord has left a message. Excellent fight, Munya. We are rich because of you, Munya. Cat Katarina has donated one abyssal anglerfish to you. Cat Katarina has left a message. Awesome debut, Munya. We've earned a lot, Munya. Meow Damao has donated one abyssal tuna and 100 tuna eggs to you. Meow Damao has left a message. I won 60 million years of lifespan thanks to you, Munya. Now I have enough cash to propose to my girlfriend, Munya. Good job. There were other messages and gifts, but most of them simply gave Leo a handful of spirit stones. Only these three gave him interesting information and items. Leo tabbed on the icon of the fish to see its detail or item name. Fortunately, this system screen was more generous than Leo's system. It showed the backstory of each creature, and Leo didn't have to put them in his alchemy cauldron to identify them. Abyssal anglerfish. Strength, quasi-sage. Size, 1,133 kilometers. Weight, 27,500 tons. This massive galactic creature lives in the abyssal constellation star sector of the famous Overlord Xiaomao. It was one of many livestock that Overlord Xiaomao had been rearing to feed his disciples and their Cathalhu friends. It is said that its meat contains the providence of gluttony. Many chef sages are willing to sell their kidneys to get a hand on one of them as its meat is extremely delicious and can bestow the providence of gluttony to anybody who eats it. Abyssal tuna. Strength, 7-star constellation. Size, 2,760 kilometers. Weight, 65,000 tons. This massive galactic creature lives in the abyssal constellation star sector of the famous Overlord Xiaomao. It was one of many livestock that Overlord Xiaomao has been rearing as a primary merchandise of his star sector. Abyssal tuna is the most sought fish in the abyssal galactic sea due to its extreme nutrition and its bones. Abyssal tuna's bones are known to be one of the rarest materials in the universe that can store the providence chi of gods. Deities commonly convert abyssal tuna bones into chi storage for emergency usage. Leo was astonished by the sheer size of the fish. Each one of them was so large that Leo couldn't imagine how he would store these. He might have to chop them into smaller pieces before he could send them to his granaries. Also, there were 100 eggs of the abyssal tuna. Leo wondered if he could hatch them and create a fish pond of his own. Still, their absolute size shattered his dream, as it was impossible to grow one of them on his planet. What the hell are those cats thinking? Do they think that I can process these? Oh dear. Leo counted the number of spirit stones from the locker. He pulled the spirit stone icon out of the screen, and small marble balls gushed out. Without letting the spirit stones touch the ground, Leo stored everything in his spatial rings. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Leo looked at the screen. Although the match had ended, the donations kept coming for an unknown reason. He wondered why. 30 minutes later, the donating train stopped. Leo counted the spirit stones in his 15 spatial rings and tallied 750,000 in total. What am I going to do with you? Turn you into essence stones. Leo deeply inhaled and pondered what he should do with the essence stones. Then, he recalled that he could turn them into soul stones by using the alchemy workshop. While Leo was in the middle of a daydream, Akashwilu, the orc god, appeared in the locker room. He then walked toward the locker adjacent to Leo's. The orc ignored Leo and touched his storage. A few seconds later, the orc god bitterly smiled. He withdrew some spirit stones and essence stones, which his friends and fellow orcs gave him as a consolation. After packing everything, he looked at Leo. Their eyes met. Then, they politely nodded at each other. I see. You're healed already. Leo praised Aku's tenacity. My regenerative power is nothing compared to your physique. SCHW. I still can't believe that you weren't even injured after getting hit by my full-powered Providence hammer. SHW. Likewise, this is the first time I see someone other than me surviving that black beam. Both men smirked. They silently fist-bumped, showing each other respect and admiration. Leo also liked the orc, as he seemed educated and well-mannered, unlike the arrogant cultivators at home. Say, Aku glanced at Leo's locker and read his name. Florida Man SW. I'm curious. You're definitely a high-ranked deity. But how come I haven't heard about you before? SHW. Am I supposed to be famous? Aka's expression turned dark. Have you checked my ranking? SHW. Leo raised his brow for a moment before he opened his system menu, checking the real-time PvP ranking. Then he searched for Aka's name. Akashwilu, the orc god. Rank, 99th. Battle record, 11,273 wins, 121 draws, 577 loses. Kill count, 752. Points, 176,812. There was a lot to digest. Looking at Aka's record, Leo was astonished. Whoa, you fought a lot. What can I say? SHW. I started out around season 35,000, so I raked up some experience. SHW. After checking Aka's record, Leo inspected his. He wondered how many points he got from the previous fight. Florida Man, the New Earth champion. Rank, 1,346th. Battle record, 1 win, 0 draw, 0 lose. Kill count, 0.3. The title got Leo every time he looked at it. He was annoyed that he was called by something strange. Say, friend Aku. What's New Earth? The orc frowned. He pursed his lips, hesitating to speak the word. Can I say that word in front of you? SHW. What? It's not like you're one of my easy-to-offend politically corrected Americans. That's an N-word, right? The orc didn't understand half of Leo's words. He flinched for a moment. Then, he mustered the courage to tell him what he knew. I guess you have been living under a rock for 10,000 years. SHW. New Earth is a slang word that the Fenrir overlord Lucky invented after he had lost to overlord Xiaomao in a fight 100,000 years ago. In their language, new means without or not have, ear means fur, and D means tail. SCHW. When they speak quickly, it becomes New Earth. When Fenrir say it, it sounds like they mock a human or other races for having no fur and tail. It's a racial slur. SHWE. Leo's weird knowledge increased. Back to my question. SHW. Aku changed the topic. Were you in seclusion? SCHWE. Someone with your strength should have been famous in the heavenly court. Where have you been hiding? SHW. Aku wondered where Leo came from. After all, Aku's strength was in the top 100 among all fate crystal bearers, and he was considered one of the top dogs in the universe. Only the elusive sages and entities could threaten his life. In addition, as a long-living god of the orc race, he had met many deities of the other races in various competitions, tournaments, events, and wars. He had memorized the names and faces of his rivals, friends, and peers. Despite his connection and knowledge, Leo, who was stronger than Aku, suddenly showed up in the Fate Crystal Bearer arena out of nowhere. His existence shook his confidence in his information network. Nothing much, Leo shrugged. As you said, I was in seclusion for 50,000 years. I just come out. I see. That explains a lot. SHW. Aku nodded in understanding. He, too, sometimes spent a few thousand years training in seclusion. One more thing, SHW. Curious about Leo, Aku wished to know about the former's base of operation or headquarters. As all deities had their own religion or governed their country, Aku believed that Leo should have a domain of his own. Can we exchange our contact? SHW. Maybe. We can exchange some students or followers to learn from each other. SHW. Leo's eyes sparkled as he loved that idea. If he could attract visitors from a higher realm, they might purchase some of the expensive goods that other mortals couldn't buy with their lifespan. Of course. But how? I guess you're really new, SHW. Have you unlocked the friend system feature? SHW. Friend feature. Leo rechecked his system menu. Unfortunately, he didn't have the feature yet. I'm sorry. I don't think I have it. Ah, shame, SHW. Well, if you unlock it, be sure to add my name first, SHW. Once we're officially friends, we can locate each other's location in the universe, SCHWE. Also, if you have a kingdom-building type system, you can build a travel portal that connects to your friend's domain, SCHWEE. Wait, what? Leo heard something interesting. He rubbed his hands and widely grinned. Yes, of course. I'll add you once I unlock that feature. Actually, my domain specializes in shops and I sell good pills. Are you an alchemist, SHW? I'm somewhat of an alchemist myself. Nice, SHW. We orcs lack cultivation resources. We'll be grateful if you sell us cultivation pills. SHW. Leo couldn't stop smiling. He felt like a salesman who succeeded in persuading a potential customer to a major deal. He wondered how much YOL and perks that he could get from the orc race in the future. Dear, oh dear. I came here for gotcha tickets, but I got myself a big shot as a customer. Boy, I'm good. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Chapter 177. Florida man saved feral dog, brought it home, and killed it for food. Chapter 177. Florida man saved feral dog, brought it home, and killed it for food. The boys chatted for a few minutes before the orc excused himself. He vanished from the locker room. It was also time for Leo to leave. He glanced at the following system screen. Would you like to return to your world or teleport to the stadium? Leo planned to return, but the new option was too tempting. He chose to prolong his stay as he might attract new customers to his shop. As a shop owner, self-marketing was one of his responsibilities. After pressing the button, the surrounding environment changed. Leo found himself in a queue in front of a long counter. This area was not as massive as the locker room as the ceiling was only 5 meters tall, and the people around him were less than 3 to 4 meters in height. He still looked small compared to other aliens around him. In front of Leo was a strange creature. It had 6 arms behind his back, but he had a snake-like lower torso. Its spike spines were also long. Looking at the creature from behind, Leo had goosebumps. The queues next to Leo were also special. Leo noticed blue goblins, a muscular man with a fish head, humanoid ants, a walking roper tree, giant wire-like stickmen, and werewolves. Everybody minded their business and ignored Leo. Only the group of werewolves sneaked glances at him before they scoffed in disgust. TSK. This place stinks. Who let a dirty New Earth here? Leo clearly heard the remark from a werewolf. He turned around and glared at the rude guy. The werewolf was 8 feet tall, wearing nothing and revealing his private parts. He had a wide shoulder and muscular build. As for his prideful gray fur and long fluffy tail, they were moist and dirty. From the smell alone, he didn't look like someone who occasionally took a bath. What's his problem? Leo wryly smiled. He didn't know what he did to offend the guy. If possible, Leo planned to avoid trouble in this strange place. He pretended to not hear anything. Unfortunately, Leo's action made the werewolf cocky. He kept talking. The Fate Stadium really needs someone to strengthen their security system. This sacred arena is a gathering place for prestige fighters and strong warriors, not a place for thieves and the likes of New Earth weaklings. Although Leo wasn't bothered by the jeer, he disliked arrogant and cocky people. This werewolf's action reminded him of the Karens on Earth. Because of the muscle memory, Leo failed to stop his running mouth. Yeah, humans are weak, but your puppy god lost to a human, to the point that he was so salty that he invented a racial slur to cuss humans out of spite. That's not something a strong and prestige fighter commonly does. In my town, we call that behavior bitching. Oh wait, no pun intended. Was your god a SHE or a sissy? Oh wait, he might literally be a bitch. Murmur. The crowd heard Leo's words, and the stadium automatically translated his language. Everybody looked at the werewolf and Leo. Whoa, big words. Who is that guy dissing Overlord Lucky? I don't know. He's a human. Maybe he's related to Overlord Xiaomao. Humans and Fenrirers have been at odds ever since Overlord Xiaomao stomped Overlord Lucky 100,000 years ago. They never change. The bystanders continued observing, yet none of them made way for Leo and the werewolf to confront each other as they had no intention of surrendering their cue. Meanwhile, a few people recognized the werewolf. Hey, isn't that Gruruk, the Untouchable? He's an outer disciple of Death Pack Courtright. Ah, he probably is. A descendant of Overlord Lucky runs that court. Aside from Overlord Xiaomao and the Cathalhis, nobody survived after messing with them. Tisk. TSK. Had Overlord Lucky never stolen an entity fate crystal from Cathalhu Overlord Meow Mao Mao, Overlord Xiaomao would have continued reigning the universe. That Fenrir can't possibly run his mouth for long. SHHH. Stop bad-mouthing a Fenrir. You're asking for trouble. Although Gruruk was in the wrong for insulting Leo and humans, nobody bothered correcting him. Gruruk ignored the cowardly bystanders and broke his cue. He stomped toward Leo and pulled the latter's collar. What did you say? And you Earth weakling, did you just disrespect our overlord? You must be courting death. Leo glanced at the wolf's hand. He grabbed it and stared into the wolf's eyes. Yeah, go tell your overlord to suck his own penis and lick his butthole like a good doggy as he is. As for you, a dirty rabid feral puppy, you're the one courting dash. The werewolf didn't allow Leo to finish his sentences. He threw a sucker punch at Leo's face. POW. It hit Leo's left cheek. However, compared to Aku's destructive power, this guy's punch was as soft as a toddler punch. Leo felt nothing, and he didn't move an inch. Gruruk widened his eyes as he sensed a sharp pain in his fist. He growled and bore his fangs. Then, he bit Leo's neck while he hugged Leo and clawed his back with his long nails. Unfortunately, Gruruk's fangs couldn't even put a dent in Leo's skin. His nails also failed to cut through his tactical suit, which was made by the clothing store mannequin. Leo deeply inhaled. He looked around and pointed at the wolf while he asked the bystander. Guys, I'm new here, and I have a question. If I kill this fool, will I break the laws? The six-armed snake man in front of Leo turned around and glanced at them. He snickered. I guess you don't know. If you have a dispute with someone, you can challenge them to a duel or a life-and-death match in this arena. And if you're a fate crystal bearer, you can forcefully teleport anybody into the arena if they attack you first. Don't kill anybody outside the arena, though. You'll get arrested no matter what. Leo nodded at the snake guy. Many thanks. My pleasure. I suggest you go to the counter and get your match fixed. Don't hurry and kill that fool too fast, though. Let me bet on you and get some pocket money. Ha 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 ha. After interacting and observing these aliens, it reminded him of good old Florida, as that place was full of wholesome people, educated people, funny people, extroverts, and mental morons. This place was similar to his hometown, even though the alien moron here was a competitive racist. Since this werewolf wanted a piece of him, Leo gladly obliged. He seized Groruk's neck and dragged him to the front counter. Groruk was taken aback by Leo's raw strength. Moreover, he sensed countless tiny creatures creeping into his skin and pores. When he inspected them with his essence, he found the intruding parasitic cells. Although slowly, the cancer cells corrupted and rewrote Groruk's blood cells and tissues. By the time Groruk tried to remove them, one of the cells entered his bone marrow. Meanwhile, Leo already reached the counter desk. Behind the counter, a female lamia with 6 bountiful milkers in bikinis gazed at him. Her face was as pretty as Eason, but she had snake scales on her cheeks. The woman then glanced at the werewolf and nodded at Leo as if he understood something. The lamia flickered her snake tongue and asked Leo, "Are you here to challenge that werewolf, sir?" "Yes, this feral dog bit me, so I want to challenge him to a life and death match in the arena." "How do I do it? Are you a fate crystal bearer, sir?" Leo shrugged. "Well, yeah, it's my first time here." "I see. Then, please open your system screen and go to the real-time PvP tab. When you're in the domain of the Fate Stadium, you can see a new feature called Dispute Challenge. After you press the button, you can forcefully transport the person you wish to challenge into the life and death arena or a casual duel arena with you. Also, please take note that defeating your opponent with this method doesn't give you system rewards. However, your arena points and fight record will be affected. Because of the detailed explanation, Leo figured out how this place worked. He winked at the sexy lamia and ogled her beautiful chest. "Thank you, ma'am. By the way, has anybody told you that you're pretty? I have 7 kids from 7 different fathers, and all the fathers are in my belly. Do you want to be my 8th? Never mind. Have a good day, sir." The lamia giggled and bowed. Then, she returned her attention to the customer in front of her counter. After learning a new trick from the lamia, Leo opened his system menu and navigated to the real-time PvP screen. As the lamia had explained, there was a new button, Dispute Solver. Leo pressed on it and a list of people he could challenge appeared. Unfortunately, only Grorik's name appeared as nobody else had a conflict with Leo outside the arena. Grorik the Untouchable. Rank, none. Battle record, 0 win, 0 draw, 0 lose. Kill count, 0.0. Looking at Grorik's blank status, Leo wondered how this guy got his nickname. He sneered at the werewolf. "Untouchable? Well, I'm touching you right now." Grorik punched and kicked Leo. However, he didn't budge. "Bastard! Unhand me." Well, look at the consequences of someone's action. Who could have thought that the untouchable Grorik would provoke a fate-bearer first? Oh right, feral dogs are idiots. They need to be culled for a reason. Leo selected Grorik as his opponent. Next, the screen showed Leo 3 arenas to fight. The first one was called Friendly Sparring. Small texts explained that it was for friendly duels or non-lethal fights between friends. Nobody could wager anything, and the fight would be unranked. The second one was the bland and lame grudge-solving mode. In this arena, fighters were not allowed to kill their opponents, but they were expected to solve their grudges through friendly duels. Again, this mode was unranked. The last one was what Leo loved. Life and Death Arena fit him perfectly as he could kill his opponent while he could farm some arena points. Leo's match could also be listed in a gambling house for other spectators to bet. Aside from the system rewards, all rules were the same as the real-time PvP matches. Leo picked the third arena without hesitation. Then, he and Grorik were teleported into the stage arena, where Leo had fought Aku. When Leo and Grorik appeared on the stage, the latter was free from Leo's grasp. He roared and yelled at the former. "Bastard! Do you know who I am? I'm the son of Gromsel. He's an elder of Death Pack Court. If you offend me, the entire court will come after you. As expected of a dog, all bark but no bite. Go ahead, idiot. Bet your lifespan when you have a chance." Leo laughed and opened his system menu. Unfortunately, Leo's ranking was higher than Grorik's, so he had to wait for the werewolf to finish his offer first. While waiting, Leo looked at the scoreboard to check his odds. The gambling house was quick. Numbers rapidly changed as spectators had seen Leo's abilities. The odds favored Leo. Grorik's odds were plus 1,500 while Leo got minus 1,000. As usual, the house gave an unfair rating. "Damn, minus 1,000. This is a ripoff. Welp, money is money." Leo crossed his arms and waited for Grorik to finish. However, the werewolf never had a system before, and he totally ignored the floating screen in front of him. Beep. The timer ran out after 5 minutes of waiting. Grorik continued yelling and insulting Leo as he couldn't move from the spot. As Grorik forfeited his right to make the bet offer, Leo had the right to force a bet. He checked the werewolf's lifespan, 5,253 years. Leo was disappointed. He thought that the so-called untouchable would be an almighty powerhouse. Instead, he was just a small fry. After inspecting the werewolf's YOL, Leo checked his current lifespan, 621,154 years. That was a lot. He laughed in a merry mood as this arena brought him wealth. Leo wagered 5,253 YOL, planning to deplete the guy's stock. Then, he switched to the gambling house screen and bet 610,000 YOL on himself. After the wager was completed, Leo waited for the timer to run out. The spectators continued to put their money on Leo and worsen the odds. From -1,000, it became -2,000. Nobody seemed to bet on Grorik for some reason, even though his odds became +3,000. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Chapter 178. Cops called on Florida man for hoarding infected dog corpses in his backyard for science experiment. Chapter 178. Cops called on Florida man for hoarding infected dog corpses in his backyard for science experiment. In front of the counter where Leo and Grorik had been, 100 men and women of various species finished talking to the clerks. They purchased an entrance ticket to enter the Fate Stadium. Visitors and tourists from faraway galaxies and solar systems usually come here to spectate or play in this arena. This was also the only place where they could witness battles between famous immortals and gods, especially the elusive Fate crystal bearers. In addition, this place was popular among regular cultivators and monsters, as this arena was the only place they could browse their remaining lifespan. They could also gamble or trade their lifespan for exotic items that the facility featured. At that moment, everybody gazed at the TV screen above the ticket booth counter as it revealed the recent updates of upcoming matches. Among a few life-and-death arena matches, Leo and Grorik's match was shown. The gambling house revealed the footage of Leo's match against Aku as a reference. On the other hand, Grorik's information was based on rumor. When the betting odds appeared, it quickly shifted toward Leo's advantage. The crowd smirked as they brought out their tablets to wager their lifespan on Leo. Some who didn't have the tools rushed toward the betting booths to purchase bet cards. Among the aliens, the snake man with 6 arms laughed and looked at his status. He wagered all 4,000 YOL on Leo, even though the pay rate was abysmal. The others also did the same. Even the Lamia receptionist secretly glanced at the TV monitor behind her counter and wagered her lifespan on Leo. There was no easier bet than this. No matter how everybody looked at it, Grorik couldn't win. The house is going to lose a lot of lifespans. The snake man's 6 arms crossed. Hardly, the Lamia receptionist giggled. If you compare at the rate carefully, you will realize that the house will always make money no matter who wins. Right? I can tell. But this time, I doubt anybody will bet on that Fenrir. Some stupid dogs do. Oh! Both snake monsters smirked as they glanced at the crowd of werewolves, who yelled at the clerk behind the betting booth that the gambling house insulted their comrades. They also blindly bet on Grorik to protect their pride. Seeing their behavior, the 2 snakes shook their heads. They're the best fish we can have. Indeed. Even though Leo completed his bet, the odds kept changing, and the payout rating kept getting worse. His winning rate dropped to -2,500. Ah, this is depressing. Realizing that his 610,000 YOL would only reward him with 24,400 YOL, he wondered if not betting at all would be a greater choice. Meanwhile, Grorik had never fought in this arena before. He struggled to move his legs, but the stadium's mysterious power restricted his movements. Coward and you're... Release me. Leo closed his system windows and deeply inhaled. He silently waited for the betting period to end. The clock slowly ticked down. Both men had to remain in that position for 5 additional minutes so the spectators could finish their betting. How dare you ignore me? Say something. The werewolf never stopped yelling and trying to get Leo's attention. The latter pretended not to hear it and closed his eyes, counting seconds in his mind to meditate. After shutting his eyes and his mind, the outside noise no longer bothered Leo. He paced his breath and counted every second. However, his rhythm was slightly off. Beep. 5 minutes quickly passed by. Leo opened his eyes after the warning sound, and he found everything in a light blue tone. He felt refreshed and calm. 3, 2, 1, beep. The fight signal began. Leo and Grorik were no longer restrained. Ha 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 ha. I'm free. The werewolf cackled and transformed into a massive wolf, occupying half of the stage. His lustrous fur shone in gray, but black fur slowly replaced them. Leo glanced at the black hair on the large wolf's body. He pursed his lips, dissatisfied by the slow mutation progress. He thought that Grorik would die in minutes, but he already lasted more than 15 minutes. Wow, you're tough. Leo praised Grorik's endurance and immune system. Grorik still didn't realize that his bone marrow was compromised and that he would soon mutate into something else. He roared. Now, you and you Earth trash, die. Wolf pack domain. Grorik howled. Then, 100 werewolf clones manifested from the ground and surrounded Leo. Each clone carried a large blade and a tower shield. All clones charged at Leo and swung their blades at him from all sides. Leo didn't move. He rubbed his chin and pondered. I forgot to ask that snake girl if I can take my opponent's corpse home. Clank, clank, clank. All blades hit Leo's body, but they broke upon impact. Grorik didn't give up. He raised his front leg and slashed Leo with his claws. As for the clones, they leaped back to get out of the way. Leo didn't bother dodging. He let the claw hit him. Clank. Again, Leo didn't budge. He muttered, calling his sentient Tao avatar. Gene dude, time to mutate something. The sentient shadow spirit of Leo came out from Leo's alien ring. He crossed his arms and complained. I have a name. Call me by my name. It doesn't matter. I forgot about it. Anyway, mutate everything for me. Ha, fine. The Tao avatar vanished into Leo's shadow. The next moment, a black dome expanded, devouring Grorik, his clones, and the entire arena. The black dome domain only lasted for a few seconds. The spectators in the stadium lost sight of Leo and Grorik for a second. But when they could see everything again, changes occurred. All werewolf clones initially had gray fur, but after Leo's domain touched them, their fur turned black. Grorik's real body also lost all his gray hair. What? Grorik looked at his body in confusion because he didn't feel the changes. He paused for a moment and laughed. Ha 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 ha. Is that your domain power? How pathetic. I thought you would blind me or disable my eyes. But you only painted me and my clones black. What a useless domain ability and Tao. Leo crossed his arms. He uttered the iconic quote. You're already dead. Grorik was confused, but he still smirked at Leo. He slowly raised his front leg and gathered his elemental essence into his claws. But as soon as Grorik tried to use his chi and essence, his stomach churned. His arms and legs felt stuffy and heavy for an unknown reason. In addition, his entire body was tingling as if a billion parasites within him moved through his blood vessels. All clones of Grorik began bloating. Their heads and limbs swelled as their muscles rapidly expanded like a water balloon. As their skins couldn't expand any further, they erupted, exploding and splashing flesh and blood all over the arena. Instead of spewing red blood, their blood was black. The massive Fenrir lost the strength in his legs. He collapsed and foamed his mouth, having a seizure. His eyes rolled around and fixated at Leo. What did you do to me? Leo ignored Grorik and walked toward the clones. He collected their mutated and disfigured corpses to one of his empty spatial rings. So much precious Fenrir's meat, eyeballs, and even fluid. Oh right, I need more liver and innards. I haven't touched those for ages. I need them for alchemy. Although Leo didn't understand how and why Grorik's clones didn't disappear after death, he collected everything he could as their blood and flesh would be useful for some pills that Leo rarely made. Grorik slowly extended his front paw toward Leo, wanting to say something. Unfortunately, his throat was bloated, and his respiratory system ceased functioning. His consciousness slowly faded while staring at Leo. Poof, poof. The massive Fenrir's bloated skin and flesh popped like a swelled yellow zit being squeezed. Black blood gushed out like fountains, but the corpse kept growing bigger. As the mass grew, the black fur fell. Leo turned around and gazed at the new loot. He nodded in approval. All right, I should have enough fluid and Fenrir's innards for alchemy. Good job, me. Ding. Congratulations. You have defeated Grorik, the untouchable. Untouchable, my ass. He's trash. I thought he was a speedy type. Leo collected the body. He rechecked his lifespan balance again. Current lifespan, 650,807 years. With this much, Leo had enough funds for future projects. He believed he played enough here. Whoosh. He was teleported to the same locker room. It was time for Leo to recheck the donation from the crowd. While Leo was playing in the other world, the frozen fire city was under siege. 4 armed cultivators massacred everybody in the massive town. They also raided the underground headquarters of the Fatui cult, killing every cultist they found. Although the city quickly fell, the army of the new force didn't rush toward another city or town. They dragged survivors from the Fatui cult for interrogation. 5 young disciples were thrown to the ground in front of Chong Baidu, the leader of the Gore tribe. The latter stared at the young men in black clothes. Brats, who is the strongest cultivator on the mainland? Chong Baidu's purpose was simple. He needed information about the current top experts of the Yen Empire. The young men looked at each other. Everybody hesitated if they should speak first. Chang Baidu snorted. He picked a rock and flickered it toward one of the prisoners. Boom! The poor golden core cultivator's head exploded upon impact. His blood and brain splashed on his colleagues nearby. The tribal chief asked the same question. Who is the strongest cultivator in this world? Answer or you will suffer the same fate. One of the prisoners trembled as he tried to answer. It's Emperor Yen Xiang, sir. Chang Baidu scoffed as he had expected it. However, one of the prisoners revealed a piece of interesting information. Idiot. Yen Xiang is dead. Didn't you hear the cult's announcement? Chang Baidu leaned closer to the speaker. He asked the guy, tell me more. How did Yen Xiang die? When did he die? Who killed him? The third prisoner gulped as he realized that he screwed up. He lowered his head and confessed. This is a rumor. But I heard from the cult's elders that Yen Xiang and his sons died during the seasonal tournament. Someone from a new sect killed him. Ha! Chang Baidu was disappointed that he didn't get to kill Yen Xiang with his own hands. However, he was fond of the guy who murdered the emperor in his stead. Tell me more about that new sect. What is their name, and who is their sect master? The young men didn't speak this time. They only heard vague information from others, so they didn't know about Leo. Looking at the cultists, Chang Baidu realized that they didn't know everything. He changed the topic. Do you know how strong that new sect is? Hearing the new question, everybody nodded. We know, sir. That new sect. What does it call? I'm sorry, I don't know their name. But that sect won the seasonal tournament. Is that so? Chang Baidu grinned. He patted the young man's head. Well done. The young cultists looked at the tribal chief. Are we free now? Of course. You're free. Chang Baidu burst into laughter. He unleashed his domain power, creating a void hole under the prisoners. The four cultists screamed in shock as bloody hands from the void hole dragged them to the red abyss. You're free to suffer in hell for eternity, that is. Ha 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 ha. After the tribal chief laughed, his underlings started laughing. They enjoyed murdering cultivators and helpless commoners. A few minutes later, they stopped celebrating as all their men gathered after plundering the entire city. As Chang Baidu acquired the news of Yen Xiang's death, he turned his sight to the remnant of the Yen Empire. He ordered his men, separate our troops into 10 platoons. We're going to clean up the continent and secure our foothold on the west coast. Once the west is free of human cultivators, we will proceed to the north next. Remember that Death Sword sect is built on a fortress city and a spirit stone heart. They are the strongest sect, second to the imperial court. Even if Yen Xiang's family all died, they can't be underestimated. Their Das are dangerous. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Chapter 179 Florida man trainee accidentally found new religion and created new lowly goddess by showing viral video to kindergarten girl. Chapter 179 Florida man trainee accidentally found new religion and created new lowly goddess by showing viral video to kindergarten girl. I'm bored. Yao Chichi complained while she strolled around the store. She had nothing to do and no one to play with. Izan was still inside Leo's bus while Kat went hunting alone in the South Canyon River. Sunwan was also busy cultivating after the trip. Thus, Yao Chichi had no playmate. Without anything better to do, Yao Chichi walked aimlessly around the store. Because she was absent-minded, she bumped into Wu Bai. The latter also didn't look at the way as his eyes focused on the smartphone in his hand. Ow! Yao Chichi wasn't hurt. Instead, it was Wu Bai who hurt his legs. The latter felt like he kicked a steel plate instead of a little girl. Because of the pain, Wu Bai's phone slipped out of his hands. It fell on Yao Chichi's head and bounced off to the ground. Yao Chichi's quick reflex kicked in. She grabbed the phone before it hit the ground. Then, she looked at it in curiosity. What is this? She flipped the smartphone around and saw the moving pictures on the phone screen. It was a video of a female band. Surprised, she accidentally touched the screen and pressed a recommended video that the screen showed. A new song appeared. A blonde anime girl holding a child protection alarm buzzer was shown on the screen, and a song of a foreign language sounded. Lonely Rory Rory Kami Kurin. Kane o Narasiba Kono Turi. Eh? Yao Chichi's eyes sparkled. She found this object interesting, and she kept watching. Meanwhile, Wu Bai finished rubbing his legs. He searched for his favorite smartphone and discovered that Yao Chichi had it. He walked toward her to take it back. Esano. Sawatara Taiho. Kyoku chu de tenko, ICHINISANSHII, Gomen nasai. But the song was too catchy. The animation was also eye-catching. As the blonde little girl sang and danced, Yao Qiqi got goosebumps. Although she didn't understand a word, she wanted to dance like the anime girl on the screen. Wu Bai was also interested in this song. He continued watching along with Yao Qiqi until the end. When the song was over, Yao Qiqi pouted. She wanted to listen to it again, but she didn't know how to make the smartphone replay the old video. Wu Bai coughed. Ahem. Little girl, that's my artifact. Can I have it back? Yao Qiqi jolted. She turned around and wryly smiled. Realizing that she was holding the senior's artifact, she bowed and politely returned the phone to Wu Bai. I am sorry, senior. I didn't mean to use your artifact. Although Yao Qiqi returned the phone to the old alchemist, she was dejected. She hoped that she could watch that video again. Her eyes were teary as she wanted to cry. Wu Bai took the phone back. But seeing how sad the girl was, he deeply sighed and crouched. He patted her head. You know what? It's my day off today. How about we watch some video together? Oh, once we meet Lord Florida Man, I'll try to ask him to give you the same artifact that I have. Really? Yao Qiqi was so glad. She stopped crying. Of course. Do you think I'm a liar? A few passing by disciples overheard the question. The corners of their mouths curved up as they knew how sly Wu Bai was. However, for the sake of the girl, they didn't expose him. Seizing the opportunity, Yao Qiqi asked the senior, Can I watch that previous girl again? I want to hear that song one more time. Again? Sure. The senior and the little girl grabbed a sacred wood block and sat on it. Then they replayed the video and watched it together. After watching the same song 20 times in a row, Yao Qiqi had heard enough. She thanked Wu Bai and returned the phone to him. Then, she hummed and danced her way to the rooftop of the general store. After that, she began dancing and singing the iconic song. As Yao Qiqi was enlightened by the song, she acquired a new Dao avatar. A spirit of Yao Qiqi with the same clothes and hairstyle as the anime girl in the video emerged. The girl smiled and tried a new move. Qiqibeawoamu. Zop. A purple tribulation lightning flashed out from Yao Qiqi's eyes. People on the farm saw a purple laser beam coming from the rooftop toward the south. Everybody flinched for a moment before they shrugged. They got used to strange things around here. Nothing surprised them anymore. As for Wu Bai, he took notes of the song's lyrics and planned to ask Leo about its meaning later. However, that song became an earworm that Wu Bai couldn't get rid of. Since Wu Bai realized that he couldn't forget the song, he started singing it. Lonely loli kami ko rin. South of Magpie City, a patrol unit of the Gore tribe flew toward the north to map the area. This team of 10 soul transformation cultivators all had 4 arms as they had stayed too long in a demon realm. The group stopped at the canyon river north of Frozen Fire City to resupply their water. 2 of them took off their clothes and jumped into the large river. Their leader screamed at his subordinate, Hey, we're not here to play. Restock the water and get moving. The 2 playful men laughed while they floated in the water. Relax, boss. It's not like cities can fly. The leader rolled his eyes. He pointed toward the north, where he could see a flying continent on the horizon. It was the domain of Leo, which was hundreds of kilometers away. Open your eyes wide and look in that direction. There's something over there, and we need to scout it before Lord Chong Baidu does. If he finds out that we ignore that place and fail to report its existence to him, our heads will roll. Bah, why so serious? Our Lord said he wanted to strengthen our foothold toward the west and the south. He won't march north anytime soon. Yen Xiong is dead, so he doesn't need to rush anymore. The leader prayed that his subordinates were right. Without Yen Xiong, they only needed to worry about Situ Nantian and the lurking immortals from Yen Clan, Situ Clan, and Ouyang Clan. As for the other quasi-immortals, they were trash in their eyes. After 10 minutes of refreshing and resupplying their water resources, they packed their belongings and traveled further north to check Leo's domain. The scout team flew along the canyon river so that they wouldn't be ambushed by random creatures from the forest. Along the way, the 2 playful guys admired the scenery. They flew at a low altitude to look at their reflection in the transparent river. You know, this river is so nice and transparent. I can see everything at the bottom. Yeah, the demon realm's rivers are all muddy and rotten. Had no one awakened the water attribute, we would have died back then. Nah, it's thanks to our Lord. His blood element protected us. True, Lord Chong Baidu's blood domain is invincible. Even Earth Celestials aren't his opponents. While the two conversed, their teammates heard the conversation. They also gazed at the water. Everybody admired the clear water except their leader. The latter frowned as he found the transparent water unusual. Although he had been stuck in the demon realm for centuries, he wasn't naive and uneducated. From his point of view, natural small streams on a mountain or a forest were common. However, clear rivers were extremely rare due to mud and other substances in the water. A massive river in the canyon was too transparent. It seemed too unnatural. Suspicious of the river, the team leader circulated his chi to inspect his internal organs and dantian as everybody drank a lot of water from this river. Then, he discovered something dreadful. The water was not as clean as it seemed. It contained unknown microorganisms, and they already infiltrated his bone marrow. Team, stop and check your bone marrow. We drank poison water, shouted the leader. The other 9 soul transformation cultivators froze on the spot. They circulated their chi and discovered countless black cells in their circulatory system and bones. A few parts of their bones already turned black and spreading. Everybody was confused and shocked. They landed on the ground and sat cross-legs, meditating and removing impurities from their bodies. The black cells got pushed out of their pores. Some of them coughed black blood as they drove the bad cells out through their mouth. Unfortunately, the corrupted bones couldn't be healed instantly. They needed time to recuperate. Damn it! The 2 guys that dove into the water were in a worse condition. Their skin was full of rashes, and the burning pain annoyed them. They didn't realize that their faces were full of pus and spreading black moles. Aside from the skin cancer, their bloodshot eyes started bleeding. What is going on? What is this poison? The 2 men screamed and brought out their healing pills and antidotes to eat. After eating everything, they fought against the unknown disease. Because of the scary symptoms, 8 healthy cultivators chose to stay away from the duo and refused to help them. They kept their distance, watching them from afar. Leader, help! One of them cried. No one moved. Their leader shouted, "We don't know what the poison is. Stay there. We'll head back to call for aid." After driving off most of the bad cells from their bodies, the 8 healthy scouts flew back to the frozen fire city to report to their lord. As for the 2 mutating cultivators, they struggled to remove the bad cells from their bodies. 2 minutes later, the 2 were left alone in the foreign forest. No one uttered a word as they prayed for their lord to come and save them. Zag. While they were struggling to survive, the bushes and trees behind them shook. Then, a massive shadow crept closer to them. The 2 soul transformation cultivators turned around. Zah! Purple beam flew by, but it didn't hit anybody. However, the lightning beam flashed and revealed the appearance of the approaching entity. Nom nom meow? It was Cat, who had been hunting wolves and small animals outside of Leo's domain. She widely grinned and drooled, hoping that they would give her something tasty to eat. Her body was soaked, and droplets of water dripped from her body. A few minutes ago, Cat swam in the river, and she just defeated an injured Thunder Cayman, which Kitten, the fisherman guardian statue, threw out from the permanent mystic realm portal. Cat grew up by absorbing Leo's radiation and contaminated water. Thus, she evolved and became similar to Leo, who could mutate most people upon touch. Although Cat couldn't instantly kill cultivators with her fluid, her cancer cells and poisonous saliva were still deadly. Because of the recent activities, the river was contaminated with Cat's poisonous fluid, and the men drank it. The 2 men were oblivious to the culprit. They glared at the monster plant and summoned their Tao avatar. Stay away, monster. Hammer domain. Get lost, fiend. Lava flame domain. A massive metal hammer appeared in the sky and descended upon Cat. At the same time, the ground under Cat became moldy lava. No nom nom meow? Cat ignored the hammer and the lava in disappointment. Her 8 roots lifted her body up, and she lifted 2 of them. 1 spike root stabbed into the hammer guy's chest. As for the other, a bulky root smashed the lava guy into a meat paste. Bonk. The hammer hit Cat's head, but she felt nothing. It was a lot lighter than Leo's paper fan slap. Cat threw the mutating hammer guy into her mouth. Then, she scooped the meat paste from the ground with her branches and put them on the plant's head. The humanoid torso of Cat laughed. She waved her fingers and lifted every drop of blood and flesh toward her. After that, she devoured the freshest corpse in glee. Nom nom meow love. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Chapter 180 Unknown hacker removed Florida man's information from police department after the latter confessed he imported virginity restoration meds from outer space. Chapter 180 Unknown hacker removed Florida man's information from police department after the latter confessed he imported virginity restoration meds from outer space. HM. Leo hummed after he teleported out from the locker room. He reappeared in front of the Fate Stadium, standing at the back of the ticket booth queue again. He didn't want to go back anytime soon. He had too much fun in the stadium as he could farm more lifespan from the gambling house. When Leo reappeared, a few Xeno creatures glanced at him as they recognized him from the previous fight. The majority of the crowd was still oblivious to his fame, though. This time, no one mocked or tried to get into trouble with Leo. He managed to reach the front counter. The same six-breast Lamia looked up and nodded at Leo for returning. "Welcome back, Florida man. I guess an explanation is in order." As the Lamia knew that he was new, the Lamia explained the rules of this stadium. As you're experiencing it now, after you finish your businesses in your locker room, the system will teleport you here if you haven't reserved a residential ticket yet. Also, there are 5 types of tickets you need to know. The Fate Stadium operated similarly to the sports stadium on Earth, as guests could purchase a ticket to enter the stadium to watch the sports inside. However, there were 5 types of tickets that the stadium offered. The first type was the regular one-time use spectating ticket. Anybody could purchase it, and the customer could view the fight from the front spectator stands. The price varied depending on where the seat was. The second type was the seasonal pass ticket. This perk granted free access to the stadium for a year, and customers with this pass could come and go as many times as they wanted. The first 2 types existed on Earth. However, the others were unique. The third was called Fighter Pass, which granted access to buildings and facilities inside the stadium, such as hotels, clubhouses, restaurants, cultivation centers, etc. This was a common pass that many fighters loved, as they could live in the stadium without worrying about the outside world. All services were not free, but all fighters could enjoy a big discount. However, this pass could only be extended by participating as a fighter in the arena at least once a month. Otherwise, the pass would be expired. The fourth pass was called the Veteran Fighter Pass. Only regular fighters who had fought in this arena at least 10 times could purchase it. This pass had no expiry date, and the pass holders could live inside the stadium as long as they could. However, this pass did not include other service fees of other facilities. The last one, Crystal Bearer Pass, could only be obtained by verifying their fate crystals to any stadium representative. However, the crystal's quality had to be at least Entity Fate Crystal. Inferior crystals were not enough to qualify for this pass. The perk of this so-called VIP pass was the treatment and the free services of the stadium's employees. They could take shelter there permanently, invest in real estate inside the stadium, and take part in various exclusive events. All food and facility services were free. In addition, the stadium permitted VIPs to build their system structures in their purchased properties, such as teleportation devices, farms, and others. After the Lamia finished explaining, she gave Leo a meaningful look. She directly asked him, "Sir, by chance, are you in possession of any Entity Fate Crystal? If you do, you can verify your ownership with me, and we will issue you the Crystal Bearer Pass." Leo frowned as he had a bad feeling about this. His cancer instinct cried that the stadium's people were up to no good, and he shouldn't disclose the sensitive information yet. "No, I don't," Leo lied. "I see. So you have a Heavenly Fate Crystal then. Something like that. All right, sir. Which type of ticket would you like to purchase? A regular ticket, season pass, or the fighter pass?" "How much for the fighter pass?" The Lamia widely grinned. 10,000 years of lifespan, sir." Leo was taken aback. He thought that the clerk would ask for essence stones or spirit stones like other cultivators. "You take lifespan? Can I pay with essence stones?" "We only take lifespan, sir. But if you don't wish to pay with lifespan, I suggest you purchase a regular ticket. It only costs 10 essence stones for the common seat. The VIP lounge is 10,000 essence stones per hour." The corners of Leo's mouth twitched. This place was quite expensive. Still, Leo decided to pay 10,000 YOL for the fighter pass, as he wished to return here regularly to advertise his store. Confirming the purchase, the Lamia summoned a system screen in front of Leo. She, too, could view his lifespan and detail. Name: Leo, redacted. Title/alias: Florida man. Race: redacted. Age: redacted. Gender: male. Level/cultivation base: redacted. Remaining lifespan: 650,807 years, 5 months, 17 days, 17 hours, and 12 minutes. The Lamia frowned at the same time as some of the details were censored. The latter's throat vibrated, sending telepathic messages to her superior officers and inquiring them about the weird censorship. As for Leo, he didn't flinch or say anything. He already knew why it showed up this way, but he didn't say anything about it. There was no need to disclose his private information, especially his true strength. "Sir," asked the Lamia, "what is your true race? Are you really a human?" Leo smirked and teased her. "Can't you tell that I'm a New Earth? Please be serious, sir. I'm from the same race as Overlord Xiaomao." The Lamia and the people behind Leo gave him a meaningful look when he mentioned the legendary expert. Although they both looked like humans, these people were aware that they might not be from the same home planet. After all, human cultivators were like cockroaches of the universe. They bred and multiplied everywhere in every galaxy. Since Leo refused to disclose his information, there was nothing the Lamia could do. She received the order from her superior to ignore the errors and proceed. Ding. 10,000 YOL was deducted from Leo's lifespan pool. Then, the system gave him a notification message. The real-time PvP feature has been updated. You can now freely access the stadium for 1 month. You may extend the time limit by participating in any life and death fight or accept challenges from non-fate crystal holders. It sounded simple. Still, this update told Leo something concerning. The Fate Stadium's owner was powerful enough to manipulate his system. Having one's fate under the thumb of someone else was not a pleasant feeling. Leo wondered if he could break free from this restriction and interference one day. Fortunately, he already had a clue. He asked his Dao avatar in his mind. "Hey, Jeans, what do you think about our system?" Leo's Dao avatar remained inside his ring, but he replied as if he had seen everything. "Don't be concerned about something trivial. You have a superior version of Entity Fate Crystal. No other crystal owner can manipulate your system. But they are doing it right now. Look at my real-time PvP menu. That's a common system that every Fate Crystal bearer has, but all systems are different. A leveling system cannot access the store system that you have. A cultivation system cannot interfere with a domain shop system. Vice versa, your store system cannot influence other system users. The power of systems comes from the Fate Crystals in your soul, not the universe or someone else." Leo felt a bit better, knowing that his privacy was secured. He bid farewell to the Lamia and entered the stadium to see the facilities that the stadium had to offer. After Leo had left, the Lamia put a signboard, taking a break on her counter. She turned around and changed shifts with another employee. Then, she entered a staff room to rest. While resting in her office, she talked alone, communicating with her superior officer through voice transmission. "So, you're saying Florida Man has an Entity Fate Crystal, Master?" Censorship and information redaction are the common traits of Entity Fate Crystal's owners. They're either full-fledged entities or fated to be entities. The universe and heavens are on their side. We can't do anything about it. Then, should we proceed as usual, Master? Not now. Let him roam free for a while. But what if he grows stronger? We don't know how strong he actually is. Do not provoke him until we discover his true strength. We also don't know what kind of system he has. If his system grants him something like the karmic severance ability like Overlord Xiaomao, we'll all die if we offend him. The Lamia sensed a shiver running down her spine when she thought of a certain human overlord, who easily trampled the strongest system user Overlord Lucky, without relying on any system power. She also thought of the cute Cathalhis, who had similar abilities. Fearing that Leo might have a similar ability as the Cathalhis and Overlord Xiaomao, the Lamia stopped plotting against him. Keep monitoring him for now. Don't make any rash move, you hear? Understood, Master. Leo walked inside the stadium. Aside from the observation stands and the arena, there was a city inside the whole ginormous structure. Condominiums, skyscrapers, shopping malls, theme parks, simulation centers, and unknown facilities offer various kinds of services. Leo's eyes sparkled like a kid in an arcade as he looked around. As a shopping mall owner, his first tourist spot was the local shopping malls. He entered a place called Tulicom. The mall was different from Earth. Instead of having small stores inside, it featured a massive multi-floor supermarket. All products were arranged into sections. Food, drinks, and entertainment were allocated to the front. Pills, meds, and health-related products were in the middle. As for the back, it was full of weaponry. No kitchen utility or furniture existed here. Leo walked around and browsed the items. He was attracted to colorful pills, wondering what they were for. He picked a pink bottle and read the label. Aphrodisiac pill. Nope. Leo put it back. He then picked up another one. Succubus hymen restoration pill. Double nope. Leo facepalmed. He looked up to see the aisle label. Female products. Leo double facepalmed. He walked away from the aisle and went for another one in the pill and meds section. Then, he came across an aisle of alchemy cauldrons. The cauldrons on the shelves were all portable, and they came in a small size. Looking at the series of cauldrons, Leo thought of his alchemy workshops. The cauldrons at home are all too big. I wish my system had some of these. Leo picked one up and looked at the price tag. 500 essence stones. It seemed cheap for Leo's standard, yet he put it back on the shelf as he didn't need it. He explored the other area next. After checking 100 pills and cauldrons from the medical section, Leo visited the second floor of the shopping mall to see what they had. Then he was astonished. The second floor was dedicated to vehicle dealerships, as all products on display were spaceships. Looking at the spaceships, Leo wondered if the one he found on Earth was for sale. He searched for the model that he wanted. Although the real spaceship was not parked there was a dealership with a poster of the model. Leo rushed toward the store. Surprisingly, the bald salesman looked like a Caucasian man on steroids, except he had a long monkey tail. He was 8 feet tall, and his bulky muscles were larger than Mr. Olympia that Leo had seen. Fortunately, he didn't wear a scouter, or Leo would have called him Nappa by accident. The white man smiled at Leo and approached him. Then he offered to fist bump Leo. "What's up, New Earth? What ride you looking for?" Hearing an N-word from a white dude here gave a different vibe from when the werewolf called him. Leo almost uttered the forbidden word, but he shut his mouth and fist bumped the big dude. "Hello, sir. May I ask if that thing on the poster is for sale?" "Oh, Stellar Model 3? You're a fan of nuclear-powered lowride New Earth. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much."